Good morning. Now, let me ask you something. Do you ever get the feeling that you aren't getting ahead with your riding? I don't know about you, but I got tired of hearing coaches and trainers say, sit up straight, push your heels down, and what I call traffic control rather than actually teaching any people anything how to ride. Stay tuned because we've got some great exercises that you can use in your next riding session that will help improve your riding. Yay! We also have Krystal Kelly of Equestrian Adventuresses. She'll be here to talk about her latest project with the International Equestrian Virtual Clinic and how you can get involved with that and share some of her highlights of her Equestrian Adventuresses adventures. Tried to say that 10 times real fast. And we have two riders on the hot seat for position review, as well as some questions if you'd like to have some questions. So let's get going. Hi there and welcome. My name is Laura. Welcome to Equestrian Skill Builders live broadcast, where we discuss equestrian related topics and share ideas and exercises to help you or your riders. If you'd like to improve your riding and training, win more ribbons at your next horse show, or generally like other horsey related stuff, then stay tuned because my co-host today, Patricia Jellerson, USEF Large R Judge, and I will share with you some excellent information to help you improve your performance and answer your questions for you. Regular viewers have met Patricia before, USEF Large R Judge. Hi, Patricia. How have you been?
Hello. Good, thank you. Good. We've had some spring-like days here in Oklahoma. Yay.
No. Wow.
No, not there in Canada.
No. And our special guest, Krystal Kelly. Hi, Krystal.
Hi, everyone.
Hi, Krystal.
How are you doing?
Yeah, I'm doing great. I'm here in Colorado at the moment. So, yeah, I'm just waiting for the sun to come up.
Right. So Krystal Kelly is from Equestrian Adventuresses. And Equestrian Adventuresses was started by Krystal Kelly, California girl, now in Colorado, it sounds like, determined to see the world from the back of the horse. Can you think of anything better than seeing the world from the back of a horse? I think that would just be wonderful. Mm-hmm. She's on a quest to visit every country in the world. Her quest has led her to some pretty crazy places such as Iraq, Yemen, Bhutan, Timor-Leste. And I have to tell you, I had to look up to see where Timor-Leste was because I never heard of it before.
Island, yeah.
Yeah. And many more. Her personal journey started more than 2010 when she left the USC for good. And where are you now, Krystal?
I am in Germany at the moment, and I've been trying to move, but with the whole border situation, I've been a bit stuck in Germany. So I'm on my way out.
Where are you going to move to, Krystal?
I found a nice little place in Italy, which I'm really excited about, but I still haven't been able to physically go there and see it in person. So I'm really waiting to just go and see it and yay.
All right.
Yeah. So now she has worked abroad for over 20 plus different countries as a rider, a trainer, FAI2 coach, clinician, and club manager. She started riding clubs around the world and is a show jumper, polo player, endurance rider, and trail leader. Awesome. Sounds so much fun. Equestrian Adventuresses have an award-winning podcast, book series, and documentary films on YouTube. I'm going to put those in the links there so you can, or whichever side they're on. And also developer of the International Equestrian Virtual Clinic. That's January 26th to 28th.
Yeah.
How long have you been doing that, Krystal?
So this virtual clinic is the first time I'm hosting a virtual clinic. I always, I freelance a lot as a coach, as a show jumping coach. So I travel a lot or do live clinics. But obviously with everything happening, I was like, let's do something online. And I don't want it to be me for 3 days. Let's bring on a bunch of really cool equestrians from a variety of exactly, like Laura. Your discussion was super interesting, all these pole exercises and cavalettes and things, and so it was a lot of fun. I spoke to more than 20 different people about their expertise. And yeah, super, super cool.
Yes. We're going to be talking about that a little bit in the program, but I want to introduce myself too. So I'm Laura Kelland-May. I help people improve the riding and training and understanding of their horses by providing hands-on and now virtual training to produce educated thinking horse people. I'm going to put my website in the description here. I'm a comp coach specialist, high performance trained, Equestrian Canada senior judge and steward, and I produce these live broadcasts. So today we are going to do, we've got 2 position reviews we're going to do. We're going to talk with Krystal about her equestrian adventuresses and talk about your virtual clinic and how people can get involved with that. And if you have any questions or comments, we'd love to hear and see it.
Yeah, especially if anyone's interested in show jumping or, traveling abroad. Yeah.
So we're going to do the hot seat first. Yeah, so we're going to do the hot seat first. I'd just like to, let me just find my notes here. Second segment. No, we're going to do first. So this woman sent in her video. She follows me on YouTube. She says, I follow you on YouTube, on your YouTube videos. I began riding horses at an older age after 40. Yay. Thank you for starting to ride. I'm very passionate about riding, and I sent my jumping video. Thank you so much for sharing your precious information with us. Well, you're welcome. So let's see this video. I'm going to put it into the stream here. We're going to watch it, and then Patricia, we're going to have you go first with the comments, okay?
Okay.
Okay, stand by. There we go. So this is the first video, and you can see she's approaching, jumping, going over, and second jump.
Well, she's very brave for an older adult that has just been riding a short time. Good for you.
Yeah. So what are your comments? What's your first thing about this rider? And people who are watching, if you have something that you'd like to share with us about this rider, you can put it in the comments. What do you feel about older people? Oh my gosh. What do you think about people starting riding, when they're adults?
This is something that you do see a lot. I've had a lot of students that have started as, let's say, older adults. And you know what? A lot of them, they do such a really great job just because, sometimes with the kids, it's like, are the parents kind of making the kids do it, or are they actually interested? But when adults go to ride, like they want to be there. They want to know how to ride. Mm-hmm. So yeah, I think it's great what she's doing.
And I enjoy teaching adults too, because they understand mentally. They're into it mentally as well as physically.
I think too, adults want the technical stuff. They want to know, okay, you have to do technically A, B, C, and D. Okay, but let's get into some corrections with this rider.
The first thing I notice is she's getting behind the horse when it jumps. She's not in motion with the horse, or a little too far on the vertical approaching it, and then just doesn't catch up in time when the horse leaves the ground.
Yeah. So right here, she's very much on the vertical.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So for me personally, I would say the whole conversation actually starts way before the jump ever happens. If you go even over the pole, so she's so focused on the jump, she's actually totally oblivious that there's a pole on the ground, and you'll see her horse just puts one foot on either side of the pole.
Yeah, I'm getting there. There you can see it.
Yeah, to jump correctly, it should be 2 feet inside that pole. So the horse.
So oh shucks. This right, that's good. Let's get right to there. So when you're saying that, just so people who are watching can see it, they can see the horse's right front leg. There, the horse's right front leg is on the approach side of the pole. I don't know if you can see my mouse moving. And then his left front leg is on the, jump side of the pole. Yeah. And we would like to have this leg with this leg.
Exactly. Yeah. And for me, a lot of, you know, the jump is big enough. Luckily, I mean, her horse is obviously, he knows what he's doing. Let's say this was a younger horse, or you're in a competition and there's 15 jumps like this. If you are not at the right spot and the jumps are big enough, you know, you might have a run out or a stop, or, you know, the horse might get you, you might fall, or, you know, something might happen. And as adults, especially, like, you don't want to fall. I mean, nobody wants to fall, but it's very important as adults, like, fall less. But to me, a lot of
not fall at all, not less, not at all.
Yeah, exactly. That's the dream world. And to me, a lot of students, like, they don't realize the importance of the poles. They're so focused on the jump because they think the jump is the hard part. Actually, the jump is the easiest part.
Right.
It's the homework before the jump. If you set the jump up correctly, if you're doing dressage and you're doing your homework and the horse is balanced and kind of sitting from behind, and, you know, you're moving with the horse, then the jump, actually, it's the same as a canvas stride almost. You have to get up out of the saddle and, you know, do your position. But other than that, you know, the jump is actually the easiest part. So you need to definitely focus on riding to the pole, and then the jump will just come super easy.
Yeah, especially when you have a pole, it's setting the distance for you. So if you canter the pole correctly in this circumstance, the jump is going to be right there. So yeah, I totally agree, Krystal.
And that might be partially why in her jumping seat, you know, as you mentioned, Patricia, she wasn't really jumping with the horse, because the horse kind of determined where his takeoff spot was, because, you know, the pole didn't help. And so she wasn't really ready for it. She didn't really get out of the saddle. She didn't really, like, release with her hands. So yeah, just kind of setting yourself up correctly for the jump might already help a little bit with your position.
Mm-hmm.
I totally agree. I would like to see this rider more in a 2-point position or jumping type position on the approach, like you say, to get the horse more packaged so it does take this pole seriously, so it does take off at the right spot. But I think it's pretty close that it should not have this rider should not have been behind the vertical. I mean, this to me is like way getting left behind. And this horse is such a saint. I mean, look at the way he is. He's got his ears up. He's looking forward. But look where her hands is. Look where her hands are. They are not helping this horse with the landing, and she's not helping herself with the landing. So for this particular rider, I'd like to see her, as you said, on the approach, think more about that pole. Keep your hands down and getting your 2-point off the horse's back, so that if this does happen, if he does kind of take off at a little bit of a long spot, it's not that bad though, is it?
No, it's a pretty decent distance.
Yeah.
And I think all riders have to realize, I try to teach my riders this, that bad distances do happen, uncomfortable jumps or awkward jumps do happen. And when you feel that you're getting left, you've got to grab that mane. You've got to reach forward and try to get out of your horse's way a little bit so they can negotiate the jump instead of making it harder for them by sitting down on their back. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. So when this happens, like you say, that she's with the horse, like this is not with the horse. This is not helping the horse. So for me, her hand should be down near the mane, grabbing the mane, and her body should be in. So her shoulder, hip, knee angle should be more of a even 90-degree angle with her hip, or more 45-degree angle with the horizontal. Her shoulder should be forward about 6 inches, 8 inches. What do you say?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, definitely her position could improve, but to be honest, it's a lot of, like, timing as well. She doesn't have her timing jumps.
Right.
She doesn't know how to, because maybe if it's a pole on the ground, maybe her position and jumping seat is, like, perfect. I don't know, but obviously over the jump.
What jumping position?
Well, 2-point, whatever you want to call it. But
but it's not even there though, really, is it?
Yeah. So if she was to just do a lot of exercises with actually getting out of the saddle quickly, you know, so if you're coming to a jump and you're sitting, you need to be able to get into that jumping seat very quickly. So you need to work on a lot of, like, balance out over the saddle, like out of the saddle, we call it. So yeah, definitely a lot of exercises with perfecting your timing in your jumping seat. So for example, one exercise, if you were just take away the jumps, no jumps.
No
if you're
jumps.
moving around on the rail, you know, in your warm up, practice going into your jumping seat and then standing and jump and stand and jump and stand. And if you can do that without pulling on the horse's mouth, grabbing onto the mane, holding onto the saddle, and you can just do that purely from balance, you know, and do it in rhythm as if you're jumping, like every step, kind of every stride, do it in trot, do it in canter, like whatever. But that will definitely help with the timing and with the actual balance.
And strength too. It could be a strength thing. We know this is an adult rider who's been riding for a few years, 2 or 3 years, let's say. And so it's an adult rider starting after the age of 40. We don't know how old she is. And she's jumping these jumps. So I think also the strength and the muscle memory that, for example, if you rode when you were a young person and then left and then went back to riding again, there's still some of that muscle memory there that they can kind of grasp onto. So here, there's nothing. Maybe she rode a bicycle. Who knows?
Yeah. And you want to develop correct muscle memory, not incorrect.
Yes, that's right.
Right.
So
well, I think whenever seeing this, I would say we need to go back a little bit to basics and practice that jumping position on the flat and over poles, as Krystal said, and get your timing a little bit better before you start tackling jumps these size. And I think you'll find that you'll be a little less intimidated too, and easier to think about what you have to do.
Yeah.
Totally agree with everything like that. Exactly. So I would, same with you, Patricia, I would back up the bus and do some exercises that will help with the strengthening of your position. And here's something that Krystal and Patricia and I, we say this a lot with people. Here's something that you can do: the raised cavaletti, pulls in a straight line. And that's a good segue into, if you are wanting to get more information about this, I will be presenting this exact thing at the
virtual clinic. Yeah.
The virtual clinic about how to use these poles in cavaletti to help promote your riding position. But this is a simple exercise you can put out. It only takes 4 poles or 4 cavalettis, put them in a straight line, 9 feet apart. Start off with poles. You can walk, you can trot, you can canter these poles and stay in your 2-point. And this is the way that you can develop your position and develop the way that you're staying in balance with the horse, so that you can stay off the horse's back, stay with the horse, let the horse jump comfortably. Although this particular horse, he didn't really look that uncomfortable, did he? I mean, he was real trooper.
No, but I believe if that happens too many times, that horse's attitude is going to change.
Yeah, and it's different over a course or at a competition, and especially if your goal is to jump big jumps. So if you want to start jumping bigger than this, you know, you're not going to get away with it. You know, the horse isn't going to let you get away with it.
The horse is not going to do it. I mean, this horse is a lovely horse. He takes the same rhythm throughout, even though this rider's, and you could, losing her balance right here. Okay, she gets over the jump, and then right here, like she tips over to the side. So this is not in balance. We want to have a secure seat, weight down into your lower leg. Right now, she's got all the weight. I don't even know where it is right there.
Standing in her stirrups.
Yeah. And so because she kind of flopped over to the right, the horse veered off its center line and trying to save her almost. And then the next one. I mean, but he didn't change. I'm assuming it's a gelding. He didn't change his rhythm at all. What a sweet horse. Love him. But I would recommend this: trotting, cantering over raised poles. Start with poles first. Get your balance, get your 2-point, so you can stay in your jumping position without holding and balancing on the reins. You guys agree with that?
Yeah, definitely. And I think, when you're first learning to ride, you need to not worry about the horse so much. You need to worry about you and your position and what you're doing. Once you are balanced and like you can control your body and everything is moving independently, and it's a lot of work that goes into getting our riding balanced and stuff for our horse. But once you've done that, then you can start, helping the horse and improving the horse, and start aiming for getting the 2 feet over the poles and helping him to see his distance, or whatever it is. But yeah, definitely in the beginning you need to focus on getting your balance.
Right. Yeah.
Right. So what's the first thing that she should work on? Number one thing, when she goes out to the ride her horse today, she has a practice ride. What would you ask her to do, Krystal?
Sorry, can you repeat that? If she had a what?
If she went out to the stable today,
yeah,
and had one exercise that she could do when she went out to her stable today, what could she do?
Yeah, personally, I would put her on a lunge line if I was her coach. So if that's possible, then I would do some exercises on the lunge line, getting your balance. So kind of the exercise that I mentioned, where you're doing a jumping seat and then you're standing and jump and stand and jump and stand without holding on to the horse. Maybe in the beginning you hold on to his mane or a little strap, but then you need to like airplane it, like stick your arm, do like a Titanic moment or something. Like,
Titanic, yeah. I like that too. Titanic.
And jump, stand with your hands up to the side. While thinking of Leonardo DiCaprio, of course. And that would definitely help a lot, because as soon as you are balanced, you're not gripping with your leg to stay in place or grabbing onto the mane or whatever, then just going to the jumps and stuff is just so much easier. So that's one definitely exercise that I would start with.
We have a couple of comments from Charlie. Milne, I'm not sure how you say your last
Charlie
name.
Milne.
Yeah. And Lynn Burgess, both saying that they agree, Krystal, and like your advice. Thank you for
comments coming
too.
Yeah. So Lynn says she loved that, Krystal, and I think she was talking about when you said that you should worry about yourself first and then worry about the horse.
Yeah. We can't help horses at all if we can't help ourselves.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Great. Yes. Thank you, Lynn. Thank you, Charlie.
That she's been, you said she's only been riding for a couple of years and she's already jumping. So I think it's, also pat yourself on the back. Like, that's pretty amazing.
Yes.
Definitely.
Exactly. So I did put the link to the International Equestrian Virtual Clinic in the comments there. I'd like to encourage you to take a look at that. It gives the dates and the schedule. And
Laura goes over some very cool exercises. That's why I don't want to like step on too many toes, but definitely all of the exercises that she covers will help this rider, especially just getting that feeling of going into position, like jumping position over poles or cavalettes and stuff. Like practice with that. Once you can do it over the cavalettes, like the jump is so easy.
Right. So let's move on to the next segment. Patricia. Yay.
Love it.
So do we want to talk to Krystal now, or do you want to see
about the International Virtual Clinic?
Brain.
Oh, wait a minute. We've got a couple comments here. Lynn Burgess says, yes, worry about yourself first. Okay. Yeah. Thank you, Lynn. And she also says her comments, lunge line was great too. Yeah. I love lunging. I think people should spend the first 10 lessons on the lunge line. And if they have any equitation things, I totally agree with Krystal on that. And probably Patricia, you are the same way. Yeah. Lunge lessons so that riders can just focus on themselves and where their body is so important. Thank you so much.
If you have the right horse, a lunge lesson is not going to be very helpful if you're not on the right horse to do that. You need a quiet horse that's going to hold their gait so you can concentrate on what you're doing.
Yes, I think definitely having a good horse in the beginning, like it depends on what level you're at. If you're an advanced rider, man, go on the greeny baby horse and just try and stay on.
Well, yeah, I think we're talking about this rider, and she's on the perfect horse for her, isn't she? I mean, that's a lovely horse that she's on. So, Krystal, could you talk to us about the International Virtual Clinic that you've developed and are hosting? What are the dates and how do people get involved?
Yeah, so the International Virtual Equestrian Virtual Clinic, you can go and you can register right now. It's totally free. We have over 20 speakers, so obviously you're one of them. You share your awesome pole exercises. We have, speaking on the lunging topic, we have another, she's a professional podcaster, equestrian podcaster, and she shares lunging and what to look for when you're lunging on the ground, what to look for in your horse. So kind of mentioning what you just said, how do I know if my horse is going to be good for the lunging? So you can kind of evaluate and help your horse on the lunge and then carry it over into the saddle, which is very interesting. So yeah, there's a whole variety of equestrians that, we have so many different topics. We have Warwick Schiller. He's talking about how to connect with your horse. We have another guy. He's talking about.
Okay, so back up just a minute now. Warwick Schiller, who is he and what does he do?
So Warwick is a bit famous. He's been doing a lot of videos and stuff. I think he had his own PBS show or something. He's been around for a while in the equestrian space, making a lot of videos. So he's more of a reiner, but he works with a variety of riders because he does a lot of horsemanship, I would say. And so that's why it was interesting, his discussion on connecting with the horse. He shared a lot of just really funny and cool stories of people he's worked with in the past and their horses and stuff. And how we can connect with our horses better and be more aware and observant of what the signs that they're showing us, because it's very subtle, a lot of it. We're totally oblivious sometimes, and we need to kind of hone in and focus and actually see what our horses are saying to us.
I think so. We get so focused on, we have to go to this horse show, we have to do this, we concentrate so much on the what we're doing that we're not really focusing on the how we're doing it or getting the feedback from the horse.
Doing it for fun. And actually one of the other speakers, so she only started riding as an adult. I think we have 2 speakers. One of them is discussing overcoming rider fears and how to build your confidence.
Perfect.
And she started as an adult, and she's got 3 kids. They're all riders now. And she shares the fears she had to overcome for herself riding, but also when her kids started riding. And she's like, I'm like the mom. And I'm like, I have to keep it together, not shout into the arena, oh no, my baby, right, if she falls off or something. And so, yeah, we have 2 different speakers. They talk about kind of tips and things that helped them progress and how they kind of overcame their, confidence issues or whatever in the beginning. So yeah, the virtual clinic, it's for everyone. We have so many different disciplines. And
I thought I saw a dressage rider. I think there's a dressage rider there.
Your Riding Success, and also Amelia Newcomb. They both have YouTube channels. And they both, one of them discusses kind of her journey to getting to Grand Prix and how somebody might also be interested in doing that and kind of not following in her footsteps because she said she did it wrong. Okay. Or following in her. And then, the other woman, when you were talking about competitions, how do you know when you're ready to move up to the next level? If you're not a dressage rider, how can, doing dressage help you in your discipline, no matter what discipline you're in?
Right.
So, it's I would highly recommend, no matter what discipline you are, go and listen to all of the speakers.
Okay, so it's January the 23rd, no, 26th. Okay, when is it? I'm going to create a banner here. January 26th.
And if you're busy on those dates, we do have the recordings will be available at some point. So yeah, definitely you could go and check it out. As I said, it's free. Everyone can come and watch
to the
these.
28th.
Yeah.
Excellent. Okay. January 26th to 28th. That's the International Virtual Clinic. And I did put information and a link to that in the comments if you're interested in taking part in that. It's a free thing. You watch it live for free. The schedule is posted there somewhere, I hope. Right?
Yeah, on the homepage, when you go there, you can see all of the speakers and all of the topics that they're discussing. So yeah.
And if you want to get the downloads or you can purchase an upgrade to download it and get the show notes and that type of thing, right?
It's like a massive book. It's 80 pages or something. But yeah, we have notes on all of the speakers, all of the hidden gems that they shared. So if you don't have time to watch all of them, you could definitely get a hold of that book, like a little ebook. And yeah, very
little 80-page ebook.
Yeah, a little. Yeah, exactly.
Okay. Okay, great. I just want to remind everybody, if you're just joining us, I'm talking with Patricia Jellerson, USEF Large R Judge from Oklahoma, and Krystal Kelly, the Equestrian Adventuress and host of the International Equestrian Virtual Clinic.
Yeah.
And I am Laura Kelland-May, and I help people improve their riding and training and understanding of their horses. Okay, so it's 10 o'clock, so let's keep moving on here. Is that okay, Patricia? We're going to go on to the next segment. Okay, Patricia?
Oh, yes.
Next segment. Cue, Patricia. Next segment, Patricia. That's your cue.
That's my cue. I was like, well, okay, I'm ready for the next segment.
Okay, next segment. Would you like to do the second position review, the second hot seat? You want to do that one?
Let's do that.
Okay, so we have this person that sent in some photos with us, and we're going to do a position review. And unfortunately, that's as big as I can get that photo. Okay, Patricia, you want to go first this time? We've got two pictures of her. 1 and 2.
Well, on both, she's really standing in her stirrups. She's not really in a half seat or a 2-point. She's standing in her stirrups, and there's quite a bit of air between her seat and the saddle. And in order to stand in her stirrups, she's pinching a little with her knee instead of having the depth that she needs when she gets in the half seat. Her ankle is locked, and her heel isn't lower than the toe, which is what we look for. But she just has to move those hands up a little bit and get a little closer, deeper 2-point, I believe. I mean,
how do you get a deeper 2-point? What do you mean by that? A deeper 2-point? For people who don't understand what you mean by a deeper 2-point, to me, it looks
even
like
though you're in a half seat or a 2-point, you don't want to be. You want to have contact with the saddle. You want to have a little bit of contact. I believe the contact just shifts to your inner thigh as opposed to your seat bones.
So
but
her bum is her bum is here, and we like for her bum to be here.
Yes.
Okay, so her shoulders like this, and then knee, and then this way.
Right.
Is that pretty close?
Because you're in a 2-point or a half seat doesn't mean that you totally lose contact with the horses. Like here, she has no contact really with her inner thigh or her excuse my language, crotch, as opposed to, and none at all with the
excuse your language, crotch. That's
Is that okay to say?
I think it's okay to say crotch. Do you think it's okay? Does that put you off, Krystal? Does that put you off when she says crotch? Hey, are you okay with crotch? I'm okay with crotch. Yeah, I know what you mean. So her somebody explained it to me, is that the inside seam of your pants should be gently brushing the seat of the saddle, right? The seam of your pants.
That's a good way to put it. Yeah.
Then you don't have to say that word.
I used to coach a couple of intercollegiate teams, and those girls were crazy. And there'd be a lot of times that I'd hear someone from the sidelines going, "Crotch it, Mary, crotch it, crotch it." Like,
Okay, so she shouldn't be standing up in her stirrups. Her seat should be closer to the saddle. What else?
Her hands are low. Her hands need to be. She's got kind of I think she's attempting a crest release here. The reins are loose, or very loose. But if she's going to do a crest release, her hands need to actually be up on the crest.
Right here.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, I don't believe she's at the level to be doing an automatic release. So we need to get that crest release a little better.
I like that she's not interfering.
Yeah.
How about this?
Well, if she moves her hands up a little bit.
I mean, out.
Oh, the elbows being out.
Yeah.
Yeah. If she moves her hands up a little bit, it'll push her elbows into her side, I believe.
Of course, if she had her seat back here and her shoulders maybe up a little bit more, then her elbows would be like that.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
What do you think, Krystal?
So for me, and I think it was you, Laura, that you had mentioned like, oh, well, the horse's face looks a bit grumpy. So
it looks like this mare doesn't have any ears.
Yeah. So for me, it actually looks like this horse is putting a lot of effort, like I wish that it was a video because then I could tell, like, is this horse going too speedy? But it looks like this horse is kind of supermaning, and it's just a little like X-ray, like it's a baby nothing. Yeah. And this horse is putting so much power into it and like really like determined look on her face. So I feel like maybe this horse was racing to the jump or being a bit speedy. And I think, when Patricia was kind of mentioning about her position and everything, I think she's gripping a lot with her leg, especially the knee and maybe her lower leg. So to me, her entire body is actually locked. So her hands are locked, her knees are locked. So she's almost in fetal position. She's kind of like holding on for dear life. And it's a natural like reflex when you're a bit nervous or something. But again, if you're gripping that much over a little X, then you need to take it back and you need to do this over poles and release, your jumping position as if it was jump over a ground pole, and try and get the horse to be very relaxed. I mean, it should basically be just popping over this.
Stepping over it. Should be just stepping over it, right? I mean, look at the horse's tail.
Yeah, she looks like she's in a like Olympic.
And this too, where the dirt is being kicked up.
Yeah, I think she's coming quite quick. And the horse is not going to relax if your leg or your body position is locked up and you're accidentally telling her to speed up, and you're kind of putting your nervousness onto your horse. I assume it's a mare. It's probably, I don't know.
Looks like a chestnut. I mean, I put this in a chestnut mare chestnut mare thing that, people talk about. Yeah, I like where you say that. It looks like she's locked. Yeah, that's
so
very.
She's so her hand position for me, it physically can't move anywhere because she's got her kind of hands. I think in the next picture you can see it a little bit better as well. Okay. She's got her hands almost into, here you can see it's like almost into her, crotch, the word of the day. She's like kind of holding on, and it's nice that the reins are loopy. Like luckily the reins, so she's not pulling on the horse. But again, if these are bigger jumps, she's going to be popping the horse in the mouth, and she's locked and she's not actually going to make it over the other side of the jump. So yeah, it doesn't need to be that much effort for the little horsey. It needs to be calm and relaxed and like, just breathe like it's just a little X.
Right.
Yeah, so
it would probably help the horse to work on some poles as well.
Yeah. If you can't ride a pole on the ground in a relaxed and calm way, do not start jumping. Do not come to X's. And a lot of people, again, you get really excited, like, oh man, I really want to jump. But at the same time, what's right for your horse? And again, we don't want to fall off. Like that's kind of the goal. So, we want to avoid, especially as the coach, like I need to set my students and my horse up for success, that it's like just effortless. And I can almost guarantee that the lesson and the ride is going to be enjoyable for both of them. And falling off is never fun. So, if I can't get them over an X safely, I'm not going to make them jump over a vertical or a course or combinations or do funny things, so definitely for me, you might be able to kind of hustle your way over an X and get away with it, but you're not going to get away with it over bigger jumps or over a course. So yeah, definitely focusing on relaxing as a rider, like, just breathe, like have fun and relax your legs, like do a lot of, again, lunge line, no stirrups for a bit, relaxing your leg, making them nice and long. And then when you pick your stirrups back up, don't immediately start gripping again. Get your leg nice and relaxed and long, and then carry it over when you have the stirrups as well. And soften the knees, soften, your lower leg. And there's a difference between contact and pressure. So
Well, I totally agree with that. And you have to, I mean, it does look like she's gripping, and maybe that's why the mare is, assuming it is a mare, right? Being a little bit. So yeah, I forgot we had two pictures of this one. But this rider here, the first thing that I noticed was, as you said, the horse's ears and this. Like, where is she looking? Is she going to be doing a rollback turn to a jump that we are standing beside, or is she giving the person who's taking the picture the hairy eyeball, like, don't take my picture? But what I like about this is that she's not interfering with the horse. She's off the horse's back, all those types of things. But I do think that she is pinching and gripping, and as you say, she's like frozen, and it's difficult to tell from a still image whether or not she is that way. I would like to see her back more here with the seat over the seat of the saddle, so that her arms can come here, hang down. Just to, the way that she's holding her arms here, they're back. And usually when you lean forward, if you're relaxed, your arms will hang down, and then have her hands this way. But I'd like to see her shoulders back, seat over the middle of the saddle, and then like this, to get the weight away from her knee and down into her heel.
Yeah.
Right. Now, how are we going to get this done? You mentioned a few things, Krystal. You mentioned the lunging, love lunging. What exercises specifically? Well, let's go to Patricia first. Patricia, what exercises specifically would you do with this rider? If you went to a clinic to teach a clinic and this rider came to you, what exercises would you do in that lesson with this rider to help her?
I do a lot of sitting trot because I believe that it's very hard to grip at the sitting trot without your horse getting, letting you know that that's what you're doing. And there's a lot of finesse involved in a sitting trot, as far as keeping your seat and your leg balanced and equal, and then having a little bit of hand there as well. So I would have this rider do a lot of sitting trot, and on the lunge line would be perfect.
Okay, so lots of sitting trot for you. What about you, Krystal?
Yeah, so it's kind of two things. One is trying to get her to relax a little bit and get her legs a little bit more relaxed, and the other thing is also trying to get her relaxed over poles and stuff. So as far as the first part, getting her leg relaxed, there's a lot of kind of like yoga stretches that you can do, even at standstill or at a walk, but you can do them in trot and canter as well, where you just take your leg, off of the horse, and you kind of do, let's say, five stretches, like 1, 2, 3, with your leg, and then you do the other side. And then you could also do, we call them frogs, where you do both legs up at the same time, and you make like a little frog leg. Do that in sitting trot. Do 20 frogs
on a quiet horse under supervision
on a lunge line, with a good track. And do 20 frogs. Always start in the stand, like make sure the horse is okay with it. Don't just surprise them. Do it in walk and then do it in trot. But yeah, get your leg. If you do 20 of those frogs, you're going to feel the burn, and you're going to be too tired to squeeze with your legs for the rest of the lesson.
Well, I think also too, when you do those exercises, I love those exercises that you do on the lunge line on a quiet horse, where you lift your leg away from the horse's side, because it makes your seat independent from your leg. And what I see with this person is that everything is a unit. It's mechanical. But if you do, even at the walk or even at the halt, if you lift one leg off, then the other, like a one-legged frog, maybe one-legged frog on each side, like you say, then that makes your seat independent of your legs. You have to be able to move one leg without, tipping over one way or the other. And that's very helpful. Do not discount how helpful these exercises are for all riders.
Yeah.
And
the same
walk,
with
like you said, start where you feel comfortable. If you don't feel comfortable doing any of this stuff at a trot, then do it at the walk. It's still going to be beneficial.
And even at the halt. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So what I would do, I am a big believer in going back to these things as well. And as you say, practice your 2-point, practice your 2-point at the halt, practice your 2-point at the walk, practice your 2-point at the trot, introduce poles and cavaletti so that you can, as you say, do the airplane, or what did you say, the Titanic?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, I do that. I call that black stallion, where the boy was riding the horse on the anyway. To make sure that you balance, and I think one of the most difficult exercises to do for people who are mechanical and don't have their balance is go from a halt in 2-point to a walk in 2-point and maintain that 2-point. So you have to use your legs and walk forward, and that shift in the horse's weight and the shift in your weight. See if you can do that. If you can do that, great. I'd love to see videos of that. Send us a video of you going from a halt in 2-point to a walk in 2-point. I'd love to see that, because that's hard to do.
Yeah, and when you're very confident and brave, you can go from a trot to a walk.
In 2-point without balancing on the horse's mouth or falling back in the horse on the horse's back.
Yeah.
Great. Do we, do you, I know that a lot of times we're always giving constructive criticism, but I had a friend send me a video that to me illustrates what it should look like. Should we show that? Do we have time?
Yes, we should. And okay, so I'm going to stop this. Thank you for reminding me, Patricia. So we've been focusing on, like you say, things that we are helping people with, but let's show something that's really, that's the wrong one. No, not that one.
This, by the way, is a I believe she's 9 years old. I think that's the age. Lennox Beagle. Her mother, Kim Svoboda Beagle, is, I believe, her trainer. And Kim is quite a horseman herself. And the horse is Ginger, the pony is Ginger. And they were very successful just recently in Ocala. And best child rider on a pony, champion in the children's hunter pony, grand champion in the children adults section. So a lot of success, these two. Okay,
so this is this is the person on the pony. First off, as a horse show judge, Patricia, what's your first impression when you just look at that still image?
I feel like the pony and the rider are in sync. The pony looks very happy and relaxed. The rider is looking up and confident, like she has a plan. I really like that. Her leg maybe is slipped back just a little, but I think she's also probably just finished her warm-up circle and is getting in her half seat for to approach the first jump. So that might be what we're seeing there.
What do you see, Krystal, when you see this rider? Like, what's your first? You're just like, if you just kind of blink and look away, what do you see?
To be honest, I'm not into the hunter thing. I think that's your guys' profession. So you know better than me, like what the position and everything for hunter should be. Show jumping is a bit different. We look for a little bit different things. It is still jumping a jump at the end of the day. But so, she's looking where she's going. The pony seems to be very relaxed. So yeah, for me, it seems kind of okay. Yeah.
Kind of okay. Yeah. Okay. So I'm going to play it now. I mean, that lower leg is pretty solid. Pretty solid lower leg on that person. Mm-hmm. Nice steady canter.
And this is a good example where I was talking about a half seat where there's still a little bit of contact. She's not way out of the saddle. She's still able to influence her horse a little bit and keep her balance with her seat, even though she's in her 2-point. Sinks down a little in the corners. That's perfect. And every fence is the same, for horse and rider. That's what makes it such a good round. You don't see a change of pace. You don't see her doing different things with her body over the fence. You just see everything very consistent.
Does she have a okay? Yeah, everything is consistent and no change in rhythm of the horse. Her hands are still and steady. The horse is just clocking around, even pace, doesn't interfere with the horse at all. And lovely position. Like it's steady. Okay, don't want to do that. Cancel. Okay. Remove. That was very nice to show and to get that in your mind of what things should be looking like. So if you have that flavor in your mind, yeah, I really like that. You know what I'm trying to say, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay. So we are 20 after. Let's go on to the next segment. Please, Patricia. There's a different one there too, you know. Do the horse jumping one. I don't think Krystal's seen that one.
Oh, yeah. No, I didn't see that one. Woo!
That's nice. I think that's so cool. All right. For people who are just joining us, we are talking with Patricia Jellison, USEF Large R Judge, and Krystal Kelly, the Equestrian Adventuress today. And my name is Laura, and I help people improve the riding and training and understanding of their horses by providing hands-on and now virtual training to produce educated thinking horse people. So the International Equestrian Virtual Clinic. Did we talk about that?
Yeah, we did a little bit. Yeah.
Okay, so now we're talking about it's the Equestrian Adventuress. This is what people are waiting for.
Yeah.
Okay, so the Equestrian. Oh, if anybody has any comments or questions about the exercises that we've shown here today, or have questions about their riding, or would like to send in something, if you would like to send in an email with your position so that you can be on the hot seat, I'm going to put my email here. It's Equestrian Skill Builders Hot Seat and Hot Seat, and that's at Thistle Ridge. That used to be my stable, and I just kept it. So I used to have a stable, but we sold it so we could go traveling.
Ew.
Yeah, we travel by bicycle, not by horseback.
Yeah.
So tell us, how did you get started with Equestrian Adventuress? You've worked in 20 plus countries. Some of them, you know, I think people would like to work in like Bahamas and, you know, Costa Rica, but you decided on those other places. Where were they?
A lot of interesting places, definitely. So I started the only riding program in the country of Bhutan. Horse riding was not a thing there, and I started the only horse riding program there. Bhutan is a small country in the Himalayan mountains. It's a little Buddhist kingdom. I love it. It's one of my favorite countries. And so I've been there 3 times now. And yeah, I love Bhutan. I also worked in Egypt, in Cairo for 2 years. I worked in India for 2 years. I've worked in Romania. Actually, in book 4 of Have Breeches Will Travel from the Equestrian of Interest series, I kind of share. I accidentally got that job in Romania. I showed up.
How did you find these jobs?
So the first job I had when I left the US was I flew to Belgium to work with a 6-time Olympic eventing rider. She's an incredible rider, amazing lady. So I was working with her, and I was kind of her right-hand man in a way. I was riding all of her horses. I was very busy. And she was coaching me. She was training me. Her coaches were coaching me. So imagine the coach of an 6-time Olympic rider, and she's amazing. Like she's placing in the top 3. Like she's a fantastic rider. So yeah, that was kind of what started my journeys. And I knew I always wanted to leave America. I always wanted to work internationally, especially because I am a show jumper and I'm not wealthy. So I was like, you know what? If I'm gonna learn how to show jump, I'm gonna go to Europe where the action is, and I'm gonna figure this out. So I worked only with like Grand Prix show jumpers in a variety of countries. I was training the horses. I was coaching students. I am a certified FEI level 2 coach. I'm actually the only FEI level 2 coach from the USA, which is crazy. Yeah, so I've traveled a lot. I've been to over 60 countries, 5 different continents.
60 countries?
Yeah. So I have a lot of fun, and I'm, the past year I haven't been traveling as much. But I do have my own 2 horses now. My husband and I, we bought these horses while we were living in England 3 years ago. And I taught my husband how to ride. He didn't know how to ride. And so now he comes with me on all of these horse adventures. That's Bhutan, that picture. So that's a little Buddhist temple in the background. So yeah, these.
But how did you get these? Like, how did you find out where to work and how to work in these places?
So when I was living in America and I knew I wanted to work internationally, I didn't know how to do it because I didn't know anybody overseas. Like I never met a foreign person, I didn't know how to do it. And the only idea I could come up with was like, oh, well, maybe if I join the military, but like there's no horses in the military. And I totally didn't want to do that. So I had no clue how I was going to do it. And so basically I started with emails. I would just like blind email people. There's also a website called Yard and Groom. I tried that. But to be honest, I think after the second country or something that I worked, everything after that was kind of word of mouth. So in India, you couldn't really Google horse stables. So I just kind of booked a one-way ticket. And I was like, I'm going to find a horse stables.
One-way ticket to India?
Yeah. That was the first time I went to India. And I worked in, I think, like, I don't know, 7 or 8 stables in India.
And did you just go and knock on doors and say, hi, I'm from USA? And
it's kind of like as soon as in India, they don't have a lot of high quality coaches. So as soon as one stables found out that I was in India, suddenly it's like it spread like fire. Like all the stables in India knew I was there and they knew that I was good. So everybody, I would leave one job and I would get hired by somebody else like a day later. Like I would get phone call after phone call, like come and, train my horses or train my staff or whatever it is. And I brought in like architects to design arenas and like all kinds of crazy things. So yeah, it was just really word of mouth. But the first time, I just kind of showed up and I found some horses at like a college or like a horsey college or something like that. And they invited me, they gave me like the royal treatment and the students were putting on like a show for me and, all kinds of fun things. And I got to ride the Marwari horses, the horses with the little ears that are like touching. And yeah, so I had a lot of fun. So yeah, usually, in the beginning, I kind of blind emails, but then after a while, it was really every job I got was kind of word of mouth. Someone in something country heard of me and it almost like magic. Whenever I would leave one job, I just like magically somehow found a job somewhere else. And at some point I had grown my connections so big that, at this point I can pretty much go to any country and I almost have a friend in every country just because like somebody has horses and, horses is a great way to meet people. So as soon as you share a love, when I was in Iraq, for example, I love Iraq. It's such an awesome country. Kurdistan, especially, the people are so friendly. It's like the most, if you're an Instagrammer, like you have to go to Iraq just so you can do Instagram or something because it's beautiful. You can't take a bad photo. And I went there and I speak Arabic, but I don't speak, they were speaking a different language. They're speaking Kurdish. And so my Arabic didn't help me. And so these men, they didn't speak a word of English. I didn't speak a word of their language, but they loved horses. So they took me, I went to like 4 different stables with them. And, they were like pulling horses from the barn. Like, look at my horse. I love this horse. It's my best horse. And yeah, it was like so much fun to like go and see, as soon as you love horses, like no matter where you are, they're like inviting you in and giving you tea. And one of the men, he actually gifted me this like beautiful golden statue of a horse. And at the airport, the security almost didn't let me take it. I was like begging them, like, please, I have to have this horse. So my tears seem to have impressed them. So I got to keep it. So yeah, that's so with Equestrian Adventuresses, I only started it. This is actually its 2-year birthday coming up in February. So I travel the world. That's in Greenland. I film a lot of documentaries and for our YouTube channel as well. We have the book series. We have a podcast. So basically the idea behind it was, when I was traveling, I had this kind of like, I can't be the only one doing this. Like there must be other women doing this. So I created this kind of community and tribe for women who love horses and travel and adventures to just kind of come and get resources and information and inspiration and friendships. Like I said, you can post in our Facebook group, like, hey, I want to go to whatever country. And I can almost guarantee there's somebody in our group that's living in that country that's like, oh my God, you should go here or, whatever.
Yeah, it's going to be a little difficult these days though, right? But yes, once the travel ban is lifted, then for sure.
the past year, everyone's been sharing a lot of their at-home adventures, you know, and things like
Right.
that. A lot of, like, long rides or camping with their horses and stuff.
At-home adventures. That's really good. I like that. That's a great idea.
Yeah, so it's a lot of fun.
And do you have an email, or can they go to your website?
Yeah, you can go to the website. Like I said, I mean, we have podcasts, YouTube, like whatever you like the most, reading, you know, we have it. So yeah, you can go to the website. You can always, you know, contact us. My email's there. You could always reach out to me. Definitely. Yeah, I love answering questions and hearing from people, their stories. And, you know, if you join the Facebook group or whatever, like I chat with everyone in the group quite a lot. So.
Okay. So to, see Krystal's webpage, go to, and I've got the link in the comments. There we go. Okay, guess what? It's 10:31. Thank you so much, Krystal.
Thank you,
Appreciate
Krystal.
it. It's been really lovely. I'd like to have you back on again to talk more about your equestrian adventuresses, because that, I think we could do an entire day on that, you know.
Yeah,
Krystal,
I'm happy to share stories, so.
Yeah, Krystal, do you have any final words?
You know, I guess for me, it's just like, no matter what you want to do in this life, like, you can do it. You know, I didn't know how to travel overseas with horses, and now I've been to so many places and things. And, you know, you just have to put it in your mind, even if, you know, it's just like a goal with your riding. You know, if you're learning to ride as an adult and your goal is to go to your first competition, like, that's awesome, and you can do it. So don't
What
let
did you say? What was your very first thing you said in your final words? You said, if you want to do something,
you can do anything, pretty much, right?
If you want to do something, you can do it. Something like that. That's so amazing.
Yeah.
That's so amazing.
Absolutely.
And what about you, Patricia?
Just like Krystal said, how many times have we done things and then looked back and said, wow, I can't believe I did that. I mean,
I'm changing my thought. Like, is that real? Am I really in Bhutan right now? Like,
right.
It's actually happening.
Final words, Patricia?
Just go home and practice. Practice your riding.
Practice, practice, practice. And I like to say, have some guts. Go use this stuff. Guts. Guts. Go use this stuff.
Oh, perfect.
And go hug your horse.
Yes.
Yeah, definitely.
Thanks now.
Thank
Bye.
you, Krystal.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you, Krystal. Yes,
Thank you, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.